Hey folks, I am John Najarian, and this is a special 3 at 3. Today I'm going to be doing a preview looking at the four stocks, the four horsemen, if you will, that have earnings today. It's the AAA, which we knew it would be, Apple, Alphabet, Amazon, and of course, Facebook, because their chairman, Mr. Zuckerberg, had to testify along with members of those other tech giants had to testify, and they were scheduled to have the earnings call for yesterday, Wednesday. But instead, all four will be today. So let's get to it, shall we? This special 3 at 3 presented on July 30th by me, John Najarian. The disclaimer says that this is for educational and informational purposes only. Intellectual property rights, yes, we have intellectual property all over this presentation. And we'd just appreciate it if you want to use any of our slides, or if you'd like to cite any of this, that you cite Market Rebellion and that you ask for permission. We are 99% sure to information. If you'd like to learn more about trading, stock, options, futures, cryptocurrencies, you can go to marketrebellion.com/get started and read all about it. Because there we have, as I say, a variety of courses from beginner all the way intermediate, all the way to advanced. So if you're somebody who's just learning about options, just learning about cryptocurrency, or if you're somebody who's pretty good, but not great yet, and you'd like to be great, well, please check out marketrebellion.com/get started. All right, getting started here. Those are the four horsemen that are declaring today from my friends at CNBC. That is a chart of Amazon versus Alphabet versus Apple versus Facebook, and pretty amazing returns there year to date. Keep in mind, those are year to date numbers. The numbers off of the lows that all four stocks put in March is amazing. But these are also amazing numbers, especially in a zero interest rate environment. Now let's get to it, folks. Starting off with AAPL, you see that we have 44 analysts following the stock here. You see how many have strong buys versus how many actually have a sell. A couple actually do have sell on it. And you see the range of price targets, 195 all the way up to 450. We are presently, in that 380-ish level holding. And as I have said many times leading into this, I have aggressively written calls. Hands out, that means you are selling something. Doesn't mean I'm selling my Apple. In this case, I own the stock and I am selling call options against it. Much like if you had an apartment and you decided to collect rent every month rather than leaving the apartment vacant. I think it's a better idea to collect rent. And of course, given that this is not going to be the absolute quarter, I mean, the next quarter with the launch of the iPhone 12, I think will be a bigger quarter, as will, of course, the fourth quarter. But nonetheless, this is going to be, I think, a very good quarter for Apple. The iPhone 12 release date almost certainly delayed. This was from the Wall Street Journal, so I grabbed that and said, look at those mock-ups, or perhaps they are actuals. We don't know yet. But this is what some people on the net purport to be the new iPhone 12. As you see, 4 cameras, not 3 anymore. This one, 3, this is so yesterday, folks. Now, 4 cameras. And when you think about it, because I think about this a lot, and the more pictures we take, the more you're going to fill up that phone, the more you're going to pump up into the Apple cloud, the more you're going to pay them for storage. Think about it. It's true. Anyway, services going to be a great revenue driver for them. Production supposedly pushed back by a month. Again, much of this is either Boy Genius or any of the other Apple sites that I follow, along with the Wall Street Journal and individual bloggers. So if the iPhone 12 and 12 Pro designs have indeed been finalized, as you see on that left side of your screen there, I think that'll be a very attractive phone. Stunning new look, they say. Stunning? I don't know about that, but certainly it looks different if those indeed are the 4 cameras that are going to be part of it. There's my buddy Tim Cook. So Tim Cook, fabulous. By the way, he was great enough to grace us with the last in-person graduation down at Tulane. I serve on a board down there. I've been a visiting professor down there. And Mr. Cook was gracious enough to come, even though that's not the school he graduated from. He was gracious enough to come and give the commencement speech in 2019. So that Apple, when you're looking at that colorful side of the screen, other than Mr. Cook, you're looking at our heat seeker. What I'm looking at, I made this slide up just a little bit ago, which showed pretty active speculation in those Apple 380 calls, pretty active speculation in the 390s and 400s and 385s, and even August 400 and 395 calls. So when we see call activity, if it's being bought on the offer, which the bulk of these were, that's bullish. If they were sold on the bid, then I'd say a lot of people doing that covered right thing that I talked about, where you own the stock and you've sold calls against it. I am still bullish on Apple here, and I'm bullish because of health and because of services. And I think the new iPhone, depending how it's priced and so forth, is going to be a blowout phone. And as I've said, if I saw a massive upside from here for Apple, I would be lifting my calls. I am not feel, and because I bought so much of this stock below 155 a share a little over a year ago, I am feeling pretty good about holding on to it here rather than adding to it. Google does, but they do get paid a lot for it, my friends, because every time you search and people that pay to be up high on that search, well, Google makes, or Alphabet, makes a lot of money from that. So here you see there are 38 analysts that follow it, almost as many as Apple. You see an awful lot of strong buys. You see a lot of people just with a buy right there in the middle, and only 4 with a sell rating. You see that the price target is from 1,237 on up to 1,850, with the current price as of that moment that I grabbed it of 1,533. Here you see that investors are always going to be paying attention to, and I think you should as well, traffic acquisition costs, or TAC, because that's, okay, how much did it cost for them to get the people that they pull into their sites? If it's higher, well, that's obviously a negative. And many people feel, in fact, the bulk of analysts feel that TAC, or again, traffic acquisition costs, will fall year over year. And Alphabet has outperformed the S&P by a pretty dramatic amount, 37% versus about 10% for the S&P 500. Here we see the CEO of Google and the call activity that I wanted to highlight for you. You'll note, of course, that there's not nearly as active speculation in Google. And one of the reasons for that is that this is a very expensive stock. When you're talking about a $1,600 or $1,500 stock, folks, 1,000 shares of that is a very dear amount of money to part with. I mean, 1,000 shares of Apple when it's 380 bucks a share is 380,000. This 1,000 shares of this is $1.5 million based on a $1,500 price. For one, 10 for one. Did a 10 for one split, folks. This would be a $150 stock. Still expensive for a lot of people, but man, at 1,500, yeah, that's why a lot of people are here trading the options. But again, because these options are also very expensive, you don't see nearly the active speculation that you do on $2 to $5 options that you see on some of the other examples. All right, let's get to our next stock, which is Amazon. So now I'm hitting all three of those AAA: Apple, Alphabet, Amazon. Amazon has 50 people, 50 analysts that follow it. That is the most of any of these. 19 of those have a strong buy on the stock. 29 have a buy on the stock. As you see, there is nobody saying to sell this stock. And the analyst targets, they range from $1,840 to $3,800, presently trading as of that snapshot there at about $3,073, which is right about the average for the analysts, as you see. So this one, Amazon, what are their main revenue drivers, folks? Well, revenue itself, in other words, just sales, yeah, that's retail. Those are people that have stores. Millions of people have stores on Amazon, as you know. It's not just Amazon stocking all this stuff. It is Joe's and Jane's, businesses that have their store on Amazon. And then Amazon takes a spiff, as you might imagine, for that. But it's not nearly the same sort of spiff that you get, that 30%, for instance, up at Apple. In fact, that's one of the reasons that these guys were dropped off of Apple TV. And Apple wasn't putting a little bug there for Amazon and for its Amazon Prime and so forth. Now, why would that be? Well, that's because Amazon didn't want to pay 30% to Apple. But it turns out that, as you may have heard in that testimony yesterday, that was negotiated with Eddie Q over at Apple and Jeff Bezos over at Amazon to be half, supposedly, of the 30%, because Apple and Amazon need each other, and because Amazon is so big in terms of revenue driver that they were able to drive a better deal, asked for and received better terms. But I'm sure Eddie Q was a tough negotiator from the Apple side as well. All right, so that said, take a look at this. This is the reasons that people have their Apple, or Amazon rather, Prime accounts. Number one, free one-day shipping. We know during the pandemic they had to lay off of this. Not completely, but in most states they had to go away from this and even the 2-day ship. But nonetheless, that's cited as nearly 90% of the reason that people sign up for Amazon, to get that free shipping and to get it fast. A little over half, maybe even pushing towards 60%, want Prime because of the video, because these guys are throwing a lot of stuff at you. They're also throwing in that same day free shipping and the access to exclusive deals, Amazon Prime Music. But and here's where it gets interesting. Amazon has been creeping up pretty fast. Maybe I should say leaping up in the music side of their business. So the part that you pay for rather than getting free, if you want their premium music, you get like access to 55 or 60 million songs comes